Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Foundry Reviews. It is I, Sly, with John and Ken, on yet another shameful episode of Disney's The Acolyte, Episode 7, Choice. Guys, how'd you feel about this choice to watch this episode?
We all have to remind
great.
ourselves that we have a choice in watching and reviewing this show, and that we choose to watch it and review it for the people because we take our job too serious, and we're journalists, and we have integrity, and we love you guys, and we love this community, and for the most part, I think all of us here love Star Wars.
Yes.
Just want to say that before we get into this episode. Is this the worst episode so far?
Yes.
I kind of backed that because watching it, I felt like, damn, these characters are fucking stupid. So, like, I get the whole thing of, like, hey, if you look at it from this perspective, maybe they're not just the normal good guy or bad guy, you know? At some point, they really hit us with that black and white kind of thing, that gray with Andor. You guys remember?
Yeah.
And with this, they try to do a little bit more of that. But no, these Jedi are just really fucking stupid. It's the show is if Star Wars Jedi were fucking really dumb, and they were really fucking dumb in this episode. I gotta say, there's just like I don't know why they made them so fucking stupid, but they did.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because the episode doesn't start off too bad. We get a little bit more knowledge of like what they were trying to do on the planet in the first place, which is something we haven't seen yet. So it's like, okay, cool. We're finally learning why the hell they were there in the first place. They're looking for this virgins in the Force, which technically we've heard about before. They talk about it in episode 1 when they're talking about Anakin. They're saying he's a virgins in the Force. All right, cool. They're looking for something the same that I guess was responsible for causing life on this planet. Very interesting. Something new. We're like, okay, kind of cool. And at this point, we're already figuring out, you can kind of already guess where they're going with this. But you're like, okay, cool, that's fine. But then it's just like, as you said, dumb decision after dumb decision. He's like, Stoll sees these girls, and he's like, oh no, like, this seems suspicious. They didn't know people were on this planet. Somehow, even though they have advanced technology, they didn't know people were on this planet.
And this
then
gigantic
like,
man-made temple.
Like, he's just suspicious the entire time, following like them to their like place of residence, climbing up the wall because he can't get in, just following people around really sneaky like. But I mean, it's not like we haven't seen that in Star Wars before, but that was under like war scenarios, like Obi-Wan sneaking around on Geonosis,
right?
Like trying to get like information on the enemy. This is just like a civil time. He should be like, hey, what's up? We're exploring this planet. We didn't realize there were people here.
Bro
We'd
was
like
just
to understand more. That's all it would take, and that would solve a lot of the problems.
breaking and trespassing, like, straight up.
Yeah, just immediately, no questions. Like, he doesn't even like try to communicate. Like, he shouldn't have even had any suspicion that they were like dark force users, like any like witches or anything like that. Like, just when he first saw them, he was like, oh, there's these people here. Why didn't he be like, hey, we didn't realize there were people here, like, immediately? Why was he suspicious from the get-go? Obviously you should be careful, but he's a trained Jedi. Like, what could it possibly be that would like hurt him as a trained Jedi? So I don't know, it just, following the logic is just really tough, because
You bring up a really good point.
Once
And
it
this
goes
is
downhill,
something-
it keeps going.
Yeah. This is something that reminded me, you mentioned Phantom Menace. It's the same thing with why are they all showing up giving away that they're Jedi? You know, if you look at Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon's immediately like, we gotta blend in. Nobody needs to know what they don't need to know. Like, if they just went over there, because, like, look, whether they dress like a Jedi or they don't, we know they're Jedi. But the people that they're bumping into don't need to know. They really don't. You just need to be like, oh, hey, like, shit, didn't realize anyone was out here. We were just, you know, camping, a little weekend getaway or whatever. That's all they need to do. But, I mean, the characters' motivations and just aimlessly following people or wanting to go home, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it just, I mean, I guess to your point, I don't see any problem with them flaunting that they're Jedi. I mean, at this time period, it would make sense. They're like the Jedi are very powerful. There's no reason to hide the fact that they're Jedi. I think for like the Qui-Gon example, he was on like I think you're referencing like when he was on Tatooine,
Yeah.
which would make sense because it's Hutt owned. He's not trying to like show everyone there that he's a Jedi because they're probably not very well liked as Jedi on a Hutt owned planet, but or Hutt controlled, I guess. But even still, like I agree, he didn't need to be immediately like, hey, we're Jedi. Just like, oh, hey, like he could have just at least said something. Like it just I don't know, following the logic. Just again, if we knew his thought process, if this was in a book, we'd be like, okay, I guess I understand. He's like, whatever he's thinking. But we don't. We just see his actions, which look really stupid.
No, he just looks like a fucking idiot. And there, out of the group there, who do you guys have a favorite Jedi? Like out of them, despite them being like a moron, is there like one that like that is you like a lot? I mean, like I like
Chewbacca because they have the least impact on the crew.
He's the most consistent because he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, which is great. I do like I was gonna say I like Soul obviously. I like the leader too because she's not
Dara.
yeah she's not that dumb I guess from what I can remember. I feel like
Yeah.
she's not the stupid. I feel like she tries to keep it level headed at some point.
Yeah, she's just a little too by the book.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that is her character flaw, and probably, I mean, I would assume probably on purpose, but she does, I think by the end of this episode, go against that by saying we're gonna.
Yeah, we're just gonna lie.
Happen.
I think that was her mistake. Compromising in what she believed in sunk this entire team.
Yeah,
She's
'cause
the
if
one that
she
jammed
fought
all
through-
4 of them.
Damn, dude.
I mean, it's not her fault. I mean, she
No,
wouldn't have
but
had to
like
do that in
at
first
the end of the
place if
day, she
all
was
of them
putting
done.
her foot down, and if she had just stuck with that, you know what? I mean, the guilt on Soul after what happens with the mother, I think that would have been enough for him to be like, oh my god. But she gave him that extra nudge with go find the girls at the very end. That coming around was the dumbest thing.
I agree. I feel like he was quite obsessed with him for no good fucking reason. Like, I don't know. Is that normal for Jedi just to be like freaking out like about like
it would have
just
made
children?
more sense if he said like something about like I sense something different about these children.
Anything.
Like I don't know. Yeah, it's just maybe he did. I can't remember. But
No,
like,
he didn't, and we never
felt
figured
very
out
strange.
why he so desperately wants an apprentice. That was the other thing. He's never had one before, but why is he so caring about it's got to be this one?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it is very strange. Like if we got some more backstory on him, like I don't know, he always wanted to have a family or something, and this would fill that void
Yeah.
that he never had.
It's cliche, but it makes sense, right? Yeah.
At least something, some type of like motivation for his character besides just I want to have.
If he was like, I had kids that I had to abandon or they died when I was a baby or something like that. I don't know. Or like
Yeah, that internal conflict would be like, oh, you know what? I can relate.
Or
I
a
can
reason.
understand.
right,
Yeah.
or like he had a little sister.
oh
that,
yeah.
like,
Well,
died or something.
they don't allow people to have like Jedi to have like connections and
Attachments.
stuff like that, right?
Exactly. So why is he with a stranger being like, nah, this kid right here, mine?
Not even
That's the
Qui-Gon
one.
was like freaking the fuck out that badly, Like he was
No.
like, oh, there's something different about them. He's like, but calmly and fucking Soul's like fucking jerking. It's like, I need to fucking save these fucking
Yeah.
kids, man.
Like, I think the whole point of it is like the Force is supposed to guide you with these decisions, especially of this caliber. It literally, you're not in control of the wheel. It takes you on the journey and you make the decisions as you go. This did not happen for Soul this episode. Honestly, the entire season, I've had nothing but respect for Soul. He's been the one that's
I know,
carried
he's been
this
the main
show.
man, dude. Soul my main
He's the
man.
main man. He's the reason why I turn on the TV. After this one, he was the reason why I wanted to turn it off. I was like, what did they do?
Soul stock is plummeting right now.
Absolutely. Soul's down tremendously, dude.
Soul.
Sell Soul now.
Soul. Sorry. Man, I fucking laughed. I laughed my ass off and had to rewind it 3 fucking times to figure out why Torben took off on a fucking speeder, dude. All of that shit
Wait,
happened
really?
so... Yeah, dude. Like,
It's abrupt.
it took me a minute because he's like, oh, there's a clairvoyant, and he's like, gotta go, bye. And I'm like, hang on, wait a fucking minute. I'm like, there's a what? And where is he going?
So that revelation is that Osha and May are perfectly identical
Yes.
in the Force, and that whole point is they're like, oh yeah, well they're twins, and he's like, no, even in twins, there's a difference. There is zero margin of error here, meaning
Yeah, so they're the same
they're
person.
one and the same.
Yeah.
Yes, which is impossible
Mm-hmm.
naturally.
Yes, and explains the whole yin yang, one good, one bad, and all that blah blah blah. And that's probably, you know, why the whole thing's been as it is and why they've been flip floppy. Maybe it's because if one person starts to be good, the other one has to bounce back and be evil
Well,
to counteract. And
isn't-
shit. You're
isn't
oh,
that the
It's
whole-
making more sense than the writer's shit?
Isn't
Like,
that the whole
sure.
like purpose of like the Force? Is that like there's always like you
Balance.
push and there's always gonna be a pull type of shit? Okay.
Yeah, to some degree. And I'm like, okay, sure, but like, why did you wait till like the second to last episode to be giving us any of this information? They sure they were hinting at it quite a bit, very like intensely with the whole on the nose twin thing.
N is on the money,
But-
you know.
Like, I don't know, dude. It's
No.
it's still, it feels like so late in the show to do something like this. Like
I feel
if
bad.
they had like paced out the mystery of it a little bit better, this could have worked. But they were like, they just, I don't know.
Episode 3 set this episode up for failure in the sense that half this episode was recycled content that we'd already seen, and the rest was just unnecessary like exposition and like zero build up to character decisions. And I think what didn't help it is you have a great point about the whole flip-flopping and this balance, but it's just so poorly done.
Yeah, it just feels, I don't know, like it's hard to understand the character decisions, and therefore it's hard to follow the plot, because this is a pretty character driven show. Like, so like not understanding what the characters are trying to do is just, it makes it very hard to like get invested, because none of them are like particularly logical, or I guess at this point very likable, to be quite honest. All of them are making stupid decisions, which like is fine. Characters should be able to make stupid decisions to make the show more interesting, because everyone has flaws, but they're like all making flaws at the same, or making mistakes at the same time. It's too much, too many stupid decisions.
I still am not a fan of the entire like tribe dying and falling, the entire building falling apart and stuff like that when it's this gigantic fucking stone castle. I still not okay with that. Still not gonna be like a giant
understand
fire.
the
Get the
logic.
fuck out of here, dude. And the terrible acting from the little kids of like, I'm gonna light your piece of paper on fire and you'll never leave. Oh, it's fucking terrible. It's stupid.
Right, because actually she was forced to, right? Like,
Yeah, because the other the horned witch was like, yeah, go stop her or whatever the fuck, go lock him in, you know.
yeah, it was all just like, I don't know. It
Forced
didn't-
and shoehorned, nothing organic. Everything just felt forced and not natural.
Yeah, I agree. Just like the character dynamics just were like not there, dude. Not there. It just, again, because we don't fully understand their motives or their point of view or something. I don't know what it is. It's hard to get behind any of the actions that anyone is doing.
No, it's like I do not condone these shitty Jedi.
I
The
think it's
show
because
didn't
we have
want us-
literally no one to root for. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
show didn't want us to like have a connection to any characters. None of
Yeah.
them really end up appealing.
That's
Yeah,
actually
even
a,
the main characters flip floppy, so it's like, who do we have to like anchor the show in? Like, usually you have at least one character that you're like, okay, I'm rooting for them no matter what it is. If they end up going down a bad path, I'm still behind them. But I don't have that in the show.
Even if they decided to go down a bad path, you would understand it because like their mind is changed and so is yours because like what they showed the audience, you should relate to that character,
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
you should understand it. You may not like it, but you at least understand it. It makes sense, but nothing really fucking makes a whole lot of sense in this show. Also, you said, like, we're supposed to be rooting behind a character who flip-flops. I'm like, not only do they flip-flop, Ken, but they literally trade fucking places with another.
Yeah.
That's how, like, insignificant they are to this plot. Somehow, they're the main characters, and they're just like, I don't care.
Right. It's like their individual personalities don't matter. Just the fact that they are a virgins in the Force and they are twins is the important part. And everything else about their characters is just like, it's just extra, like, a little fluff on there. We don't care too much about that part. Just like where they are and who they are and how they relate to the overall, like, where we're going with the story. We don't actually care about the individual characters necessarily. They're just like placeholders.
Well, I think right here is the good part to put in Sly's super fucking awesome rant from the beginning there. But are we ready for a number?
Without a doubt.
I guess.
I really didn't like this, but it's still. I've seen the entire series. It's not my least favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Valid.
I'm gonna say it's like a 3.5 for me.
3.5.
Wow.
Yeah, this one's a tough one for me. Because I think I gave the last one, what did I say? A 5? I think
Yep,
I gave
5.
the last one. So, I mean, this one's definitely at least worse than the last one. So, I guess like a 4? Like, like
You
it's
guys are very generous.
It's got a little bit going for it. I liked some of the beginning stuff with the talk about the virgins in the forest. And
Yeah, that stuff
I
was
thought
really
that
interesting.
Was cool. Thought that was interesting. Just learning that the Jedi are scouting out places, fine, all legit. I can get behind all of that. Makes sense. But then as soon as Soul starts making stupid decisions, I'm taken out. And then as Sly said, it's like a lot of repeat information, which was probably on purpose because it's supposed to be the Jedi's perspective of the same events. But still, it's just, but it's not, it's also not just the Jedi's perspective again. Like, we're doing this whole, it's a different point of view. But also, we're just getting all the information now. We're getting the Jedi and the rest of the other perspective that we should have gotten before.
Yeah.
So, it's not even consistent in that sense. So, yeah, I mean, I guess the 4. Like, there was some interesting combat, but not enough to, like, raise it up any higher than that. So yeah, I guess I'll stick with a 4.
Yeah, 4's that's fair. Sly?
I am prepared to drag this thing past Tartarus. This episode is a 1 for me.
A
because
fucking
of
1.
blatant disrespect that this whole Virgins in the Force thing, the effect it has on all the other Star Wars content, is one of my number 1 biggest issues.
I was gonna
with
say,
this show.
doesn't that mean like with the whole thing, like it fuck up the whole like how Anakin Skywalker is born or anything like that?
It makes his significance insignificant.
The chosen one.
And if they made these twins better written, cooler, maybe a better delivery, I'd be like, oh shit, these were the precursors that like set the stage for how they learned how to create Anakin. I respect that. But instead, we got this chicken shit, poorly written show with the most lame plot lines ever, with characters that have no motivation, no like actual guiding, path for any of their decision making. This was awful. And this episode was, like I said before, just recycled content that we saw before. And yes, it was nice to see the different perspectives and like get the full picture. But you know what? I would have rather we never had that first episode. Because watching this backwater episode of just, spit in the cup and drink it back up again, what was the point? Why?
I think I think what you're saying, I think that's most likely what they were going for, is having like this be like, oh, this is how they learned how to do this. This was a problem because they were split. We wanted one person with like the balance.
Yeah,
Because
the
you know,
duality
Anakin
of- yeah.
ends up being the literal balance to the Force, so he's got all of the both sides. But this was a problem because it's a manifestation in two different
If it
people.
was executed a little
But they
bit
coulda
better
done it better.
storytelling wise, and the delivery was, you know, the net result of that, like, hey, we ended up putting both of them separate and they keep each other in balance, but it's not one person. You're right now why. 50% of the episode is used content from episode 3.
True. I mean,
We are
intentionally, obviously,
rewatching the
but like,
same shit. And this is one of the longest episodes in the entire series. Fun fact.
it is.
And it just confirmed what we already knew. It just showed a few extra unnecessary lame scenes. Very lame scene. We get garbage fights. We see a bunch of people meditate themselves to death.
What? They didn't meditate that.
Bro.
I think they died when they. Wait.
Ken's like, how did they die?
He's like,
I'm
wait a
trying to
second.
remember the
A bunch
episode.
of yogis kill themselves? Yes, bro.
I thought she killed them somehow by
Nah,
severing
dude,
their
they drank the
connection to,
Kool-Aid and had
No,
a space.
I thought the Horn Lady killed them.
No, they had a space aneurysm, dude.
The people that were taking control of Kalnaka, I think they died because she severed their connection to him, and it caused them to die.
It was literally like, I think that's an important thing too about like the whole dark magic thing, why it's kind of not shown a lot. If they're following the comics, which I know they've thrown a few comic references here and there, even with the Night Sisters, the whole point of this magic is it's potent and it's not really good to practice and it's straining on the body, you know? The fact that it takes that many people to possess one person, you know, like, hey, Torben gets possessed by one woman immediately. But to take control and puppet a Wookiee, and it takes the whole tribe, yeah, they die. So yeah,
Well,
the
probably
severing the
bitchy.
connection I think played a part, but it was fucking why? Why are you fawning over some little girl in the woods? Honestly, this episode ruined that respect I had for Soul. It was awkward. And then same thing with Torben. I just want to go home. When do we get to go home?
Yeah, then he just takes off on the speeder and shit like that randomly.
It's the dumbest thing.
Yeah, it's like, if we can get them, we can prove that they're, what was it? Shit.
Prove
It's
that
called
they're,
something.
you know, manipulating training the children. Yeah.
No. Well, yes, but they were also searching for something specifically on the planet.
Yeah, it was
Virgins in the Force, which
yeah.
is the twins. The twins are
Yes.
the Virgins in the Force, which we
Right.
already kind of suspected. And this confirms it. They were born of the Force. Which, fucking stupid. This whole thing is just stupid. And then the mothers, don't even get me started on that. I was gonna let her go. Even though she's like about to fight, like...
I still don't know what she was trying to do there. She like turned into a ghost form.
Yeah, you're
And I
about
was
to
like,
fight, but then as soon as you die, you're like, by the way, I was gonna let them go. Then why'd you try to fight me? Why'd you try to attack? You could have just said that.
Isn't the whole building like
makes-
stone as well? And
Yeah. I would have loved it. I would have eaten this shit up like it was pudding. I would have been like, you know what? This is super cool. It makes sense. And it doesn't hurt what has been previously made. But when you come out with content like this, it's like a black spot. It tarnishes what you've done well.
Agreed.
well,
Jay.
it is very shameful. I was gonna say like that is a really big thing to drop, and I feel like it doesn't deserve to have a bomb that significant to drop for the show.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's our official review or score. What is it? So what does that make it then?
Like a 2.5 maybe.
Holy fuck! That has got to be the lowest rated fucking like thing that we've ever done before. That's
I
insane.
think it is.
Yeah, but hey,
Maybe a 3.
if somehow you're an alien not from this planet and you enjoyed the episode, and I know you enjoyed the review, but make sure to leave some support down below for the slugs, and we'll see you guys later on the finale of the Acolyte. Bye, guys.
Peace.